Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, thirst trap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight, unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, thirst trap, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, thirst trap.
Yep.
Clickbaity political. Welcome one and all. You know, I'm not used to doing the welcome on this fabulous show that we do. So let me yield the floor to someone who can do it. And we just this adorable little. Who is this? Who is this with us tonight?
We got Mackenzie Brown over here. He's co-hosting. He's filling in for our light skin guy. Our light skin guy show up.
You gotta always have one light skinned guy on the show. I love it. I love it.
You wanna say hello, Mackie?
He said hello. He said hello. Mundell Robson, Mayor Mundell, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, brother. Listen, we are, and this is Marcus thing, the introduction. You know me, I'm so corny, and I like to get right into it because the nerd in me, yep, that is your mommy. I don't know how to host a show, so I just like to talk about topics. But I will say this: every day we're not on the air, and I'm listening to how the media is downplaying where we find ourselves and talking about are we close to a constitution crisis. It disturbs me. It disturbs me. So I need this show on Tuesday to bring me back to reality and remind me that people are paying attention. That it's not just me in my little hole worried about what Donald Trump not is doing or going to do, has already done to the credibility of America, known in the context of democracy. We are no longer the leader or have a leading democracy on the world stage. We're no longer the most trusted partner. Our dollar is not the most trusted dollar. So we find ourselves right here, Pastor Ben and Marcus, when he hop on, in a space that is more crucial than ever. We have a party, our party, that's willing, I would say my party, I don't speak for anybody else, that's willing to act as the status quo is sufficient. We have another party, the Republican Party, that is kissing, tongue kissing, French kissing, fascism in a way that's unseen in America. Our stock market is as unstable as it was in 1932. We've seen crashes that rival that, and this is not getting any better. So, brother, thank you so much. Clickbaity, welcome y'all. Make sure you share, like, and spread all the news that Ben is spreading. What's up, bro?
Hey, man, ain't nothing but the rent. I see Brother Marcus is in the green room. He's getting set up still, so we're gonna keep filibustering because Marcus is the one who know how to open up the show. He always come in with the proper introduction. But I'm with you on the urgency of this moment. Like if I just start talking, and I just want to check in. I'm assuming everyone else has sound. Riley saying they don't have sound, but my assumption is that everyone else has sound. If not, I'm sure y'all would have let us know by now, but just wanted to double check. That said, the urgency of now. What happens is normalcy imposes itself. Oh, he here. What it do, man?
What's up?
Hey, man.
Welcome, everybody. I'm late to another episode of Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. I am one of your three hosts, Marcus Farrell, coming to you all the way live from an awesome town called Hateville, Georgia. That is actually a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. We're doing some big things here today. We got the kids, we got the family. My cousin might be cooking behind me today because, you know, he's coming in and he's doing the thing. So we got the whole family vibe going. Welcome to this episode. I am so hyped to be here with Pastor Benjamin Dixon, all the way live from somewhere in America, and also the mayor of Enfield.
That's it.
North Carolina.
That's it.
Mondale Robinson, and I am Marcus Farrell on YouTube.
Well,
Benjamin,
let me tell you, it ain't the same. It ain't the same without you doing the opening like you do it, brother. I can tell you.
Hey, listen, man, it is what it is. But like, I like when Mondale does it too. You know what I mean? Free advertisement. Herder Ultra. Sorry, folks. It's just my time. You got to go ahead and get it. So I hope we have a great show today.
No, I believe it. I believe we are. Listen, we had just got to start talking about the crit sit. What we used to say, well, that little bit of time I spent in the tech industry, we are in a crit sit in America, a critical situation. The stock market is, and I know I say this as a point of reference, but you know, a lot of folks don't even got no money in the stock market to really feel the impact. But then there's a whole lot of other folks who feeling some serious pain right now because of the foolishness that's being done. The value of the dollar, like you said, Mondale, the amount of trust that has been lost in the United States of America, the Pentagon. We got to talk about what's happening over the Pentagon. I know you two, above all else, understand very clearly what's going on there and the dangers of it. We are in some really dangerous time. And here's what I was saying before you help get us opening up. Yeah, if we ain't careful, normalcy imposes itself. You could say this ain't normal all you want, but if you don't actively fight against it, we are going to find ourselves getting used to the chaos that Donald Trump is causing right now.
Listen, I said this a while ago, and I'm going to repeat it. This intentional destruction of America is exactly what certain oligarchs wanted, right? And the unfortunate part about it is, and I want to bring this up with a little bit of respect for my community, but I want to say this. Middle-class white people don't realize what they've done. It's not like, listen, y'all have kept black and brown communities so poor for so long that whatever we go through, even though it's going to hurt us worse, the white middle-class community is just not prepared for what's about to happen. Excuse my language, but you guys are about to be niggified. and we know how to be poor already. We know how to make it, right? Listen, you take somebody in the hood, they might get their food stamps. Listen, if they need a little money for weed, they're gonna get rid of them food stamps. Y'all don't even have that culture yet. Like y'all don't even have the culture to even think about how to make it on $5 because you were so comfortable. You know why I know you were comfortable? Because you guys voted for Trump. Y'all had to be comfortable. Y'all had to be that comfortable. Y'all got so comfortable with racism, sexism, misogyny, that you didn't realize that you folks can be poor from this right here. The destruction of the economy is on purpose. The destruction of the military is on purpose. The de-strengthening and the weakening of American military and American prowess in America, in the world, is on purpose. Why? Because Elon Musk needs, and other oligarchs need, a weak America, so all of our property taxes will be, all of our properties will be cheaper, and we can't afford it. Think about it for a second, guys. We have a country that is working towards AI automation. We have a country that automated jobs are one of the most important things that we're seeing right now for these oligarchs. We have a country where the grocery store has more automated tellers right now, and they're trying to implement things like computer systems that used to do human jobs. Yep. We also have a government that is not trying to give us a single dime, right? Like, you can't do both, guys. Folks, we cannot do both in America. We can't take away American jobs and then not support American people. That right there is going to cause two things: poverty and hopefully a revolution. Because there is no way that you could automate America not have any jobs. We have lost jobs because of Trump that will never, ever, ever, ever come back to America because of this tariff situation. And who did this? Now, I don't blame the Democrats for this one, even though I like to blame the Democrats. I don't blame the Democrats for this one. I don't even blame the Harris campaign, which I don't think was the greatest one on the planet, but I don't blame them either. Now I'm going to look at you, the folks who are going to get affected for the first time and go through poverty. Y'all are complaining about $6 eggs. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Nothing.
By the way, real quick before I pass it over, shout out to my boys at the smoke shop I just met. I hope y'all are watching. If you're watching, comment. Y'all boys were cool as hell, and y'all always hook me up with the best vapes and all the other cannabis supplies that I need. So shout out.
Whew. Not to mention, and I'm gonna pull this one up on your screen as soon as I get a good headline. The move that they just made with student loans. They are just now for 5 million students, 5 million people. The Department of Education that they're getting ready to shut down, right? They're gonna shut down the Department of Education, but they're gonna keep it alive enough in order to start collecting and sending everyone who is in default to collections. Well, there's some 5 million people in default in the country, in the United States of America. So when you add that on top of not just the cost of egg, but inflation that's happening because of Donald Trump. When you talk about all the money that people are losing in the stock market, you talk about all the jobs that are being lost, you talk about all the tariffs that are being put on it, you talk about all the regulations that they're getting rid of from the Food and Drug Administration, the regulators who keep our food healthy enough for us not to die. It might be a slow, our food ain't that good. It's a long death that they give us with our food. But now they're going to put it where they can kill us in a couple of weeks because we get salmonella, we get some kind of botulism, we get something that inspectors used to be able to catch. Now they're 20,000 employees short in that department. And so now we're going to be in a situation where they're strategically destroying the United States of America. And Mundell, you said this, regular mainstream media kind of just like, they acting like this is normal already.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I appreciate the fact that like this is how connected the chaos is. We literally went from a conversation about the economy and how people that have not traditionally been affected by issues of poverty will reap the reward of their vote or the lack of their willingness to vote for a Black woman. We're seeing that, but it's also tied to what's going on with Donald Trump's attack on education. It's just not the ending or trying to end the Department of Education. It's also this war against Howard and Harvard. We've already seen the war against Howard and other HBCUs as they stop funding it because they think we are DEI institutions, right? We already seen the significant underfunding for what it's going to be. But what's going on with Harvard University? You see where my mind's at.
Yeah.
You see where my mind's at.
For sure.
Harvard University, this is an attack. This is a fascist playbook. You need to end anybody who is not loyal. You need to end the institutions that create people or create spaces where people can challenge traditions and thought. Ideas. Places where ideas flourish need to be gone in order for fascism to work. So what we see when you see universities like University of Michigan and Washington saying we're going to form a union, so because we know we can't beat the federal government by ourselves, but together they don't have enough resources to feed us. So we see what's happening, and people pretending, the mainstream media, been allowing this to carry on, Marcus, in this manner, and talking about stuff that's frivolous to me in this moment is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry the Pope died. I'm sorry the Pope died, but I felt like we should have been spending a lot more time talking about the Supreme Court. Say it. That's right. Talking about the Supreme Court and their willingness to stand up to Trump finally. I mean, we saw a 9-0 a vote against Trump and a 7-2. That means some people that he put on the board was like, enough is enough. Some people, I said the board, I meant the Supreme Court. So finally we see people willing to say, okay, this administration might be too far for what this Constitution says loud, for what the Constitution say, for what our federal laws say, and what place does the Supreme Court have when Donald Trump is saying there's no such thing as due process?
Right.
Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's because they care about people. They just care about where they sit.
That part. It's a sobering moment, Marcus, and I think it goes right back to what you said. And I I appreciate the clarity that you see this with, right? Because you skip. It's not that you skipped a couple of steps, but you're seeing down the road. You see the conclusion of the matter. You see the sum total of all the individual parts, and you say, "Oh no, these white folks about to experience poverty in a way they ain't never seen poverty in their life." And I love that you see that, because I think a lot of folks don't see that.
No, see, listen, we as black folks, we even if you were born into wealth as a black person, right? Which there are black people that are born into wealth. When you're born as a black person, there is a high likelihood, there's very few families that have nobody that's in poverty when you're black.
Come on.
There's very few families that none of your cousins are poor, none of your aunties are poor.
You ain't got to loan nobody.
None of your kids are poor. No, you might have a rich uncle, or you might have a rich family, but one of them little Negroes underneath them, they're messed up. So what I'm saying is this: black folks across the board understand being broke.
Come on.
We just do. We do better than you. And here's the thing: the only time the repercussions have happened is when these stock markets start to crash. Which, by the way, hey, I shorted the market as soon as Trump got elected. I don't.
You should be doing good right now, boy.
Oh, I don't have the biggest portfolio, but like
you did all right.
Yeah, and when you start seeing your blue chip consistent investments start falling, when you start seeing the GEs start taking hits of the world, and you start seeing the social media companies and the Chinese owned companies start going up at the same time, you gotta wonder, you gotta understand this. I hope everybody understands a little bit of basic economics, right? The people who made out the best in 2008 because of the collapse saw, if you watch any of those Wall Street movies that came out afterward, saw one thing. They saw that the economy was about to collapse. There are certain people that should have their hands on the steering wheel while economic issues are going on. And I'm sorry, Trumpism is one of them that should not have that. So you got to understand something. Like, I keep saying you got to understand something. I hope white folks understand this. There was a time in America where black people didn't put their money in the banks. And y'all did. White folks put their money in banks and black folks didn't. And all of a sudden, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Rosewood, Florida, and all of these places started becoming booming economic centers. And y'all got so pissed off because y'all put y'all money in the banks. Now, black folks have their money in the banks. But what we do is we have an innate ability to see down the road. Black grandmamas and black aunties have taught us, hey, you know what? Tomorrow ain't guaranteed. I know so many black women that teach their daughters and their sons, hey, go ahead and keep some, I gotta get away from you money. Yeah. Just in case that the person that's taking care of me doesn't want to take care of me anymore. We have an innate understanding about how to be poor in America. We have an innate understanding. And it's not that we don't want to be poor, it's just that economic situations put us in those situations. Here's the thing, white people, y'all are not ready for this. Y'all are not ready for what's about to go down. Y'all are not ready for stretching out a loaf of bread so you only have a one-sided sandwich.
Look,
wait.
Don't know about getting some pinto beans and making a pinto bean sandwich.
Yeah, and I hate to be like this, but we can take a pack of eggs and stretch it out for 2 weeks.
Come on.
It's ironic that Ben chose to put up a graphic about suspending white milk while you talk about what white people don't know. Listen. This is a beautiful program. Black people drink milk not like white people. You can ask doctors. This is gonna kill them more than anybody.
Yep.
This is not me smiling at people's downfall, but I'm telling you, Ben, you said something about white people that I ain't ready to give them. That they never experienced poverty. Marcus, listen to this. The way that we have, they have, but you know what they had? Their riches was in whiteness. Their richness lie in the ability to be white. And this is not new. This is America, right? Donald Trump, we didn't know when he said make America great again. We didn't know he meant the rich people's response to Bacon Rebellion. Because that's the America we in right now. Donald Trump and his rich people are not stressing about it. If you retired, if you work for a living, you in America, if you retired in America, you are worth less than when Donald Trump was elected. Your retirement portfolio is smaller. If it's managed by any of the regular investment firms, you are worth less. Anybody, everybody, not just the people that were laid off. So this idea that the poorest people, the most vulnerable people, elderly people are suffering because of this president tells us a few things. The whims and traditions of those who choose what is the status quo in America has caused and continue to cause us harm. I'm criticizing baby boomer voters right now.
Yeah.
They're willing to tie themselves to tradition over what's necessary, and radical thought has us still supporting a baby boomer as president who means harm to America, and in a way that's going to affect them more than anybody else. Secondly, the Democratic Party and its role in the re-election of Donald Trump. First of all, anybody that was in leadership in both times that Donald Trump won should be barred from any level of leadership in the Democratic Party. If you held a leadership role in both times that Donald Trump won presidency, you fail epically at what you're supposed to do. You are not listening to voters. You're not listening to base. You have disqualified yourself. Any consultant that worked on both campaigns against Donald Trump, you are disqualified. I'm talking about both victories from Donald Trump. You should be disqualified for getting a consultant check on presidential elections. Maybe you need to go start over and go get a dog catcher elected first. Start your career over. We are sitting in a space right now where America will never be America as we knew it. I said it myself on this show at the beginning of the year. Maybe we won't see it, but Donald Trump doing and showing up the way he's showing up, pulling us out of treaties, pulling us out of who defunding, who not supporting NATO, not supporting the United Nations. I said it was going to lessen our role and we might not see the fall of America in our lives. I want to take that back. We are in the throes of the fall of America right now in these moments. Right now. We're not prepared.
No. You know, there is one thing that I want to bring up about the situation. That is this right here. Ben, you did point out that I like to look at end games. Well, maybe the end game for this right here, and I've said this so many times, to which both of you have agreed with me and also cussed me out for, but I'm going to repeat this statement. All this shit needs to burn the fuck down. Ooh. All right. So
I'm raising kids here, black man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
ain't worried about the profanity. I'm worried about the thought. I'm talking about all of that, of the system falling while I'm raising kids.
I mean, listen, in order for, look, I like democracy. I love democracy, right? I'm a democratic socialist leaning kind of cat, but I like democracy. I do. I'm a fan of it. But has it worked? Has it worked in the ideals that the apex of the world and the wealthy donors of the world get to say that Gavin Newsom is the guy that is going to run for office next time? Get to say that Rahm Emanuel is still valid. Get to say that Donald Trump and his Republican friends like Marco Rubio, who literally had the biggest problem with the tariff game a while ago, and now all of a sudden he is completely behind the tariffs. Now, just follow what I'm saying. This is a system that white folks have not been pissed off enough because they have been very comfortable. And we can't do it by ourselves, folks, right? We just can't. I'm sorry. Like, I keep telling some of my FBA ADOS friends, yo, y'all can't get reparations without some white people supporting it. I hate to be like that, but I mean,
how does that not register to them? It's coming.
But I'm not knocking nothing. What I'm saying is that like, even if there is a congressional black caucus that's 100% behind it, if they're not willing to leverage reparations, if they're not willing to leverage like other bills for reparations, then, you know, it's not going to get the kind of movement. And right now, we don't have a sturdy enough CBC caucus to even fight for it. What I'm saying to you is that people are going to be a little bit more willing to listen if the system starts shutting down. If this, because here's the thing, you can't keep making the same mistakes and expecting a different result, especially when your kids don't have milk that you need, right? Y'all be drinking whole milk. I don't understand that. Like, just like Friday, our people say, you better put some water in that shit. That's what they say to us. That's a real statement, right? When they're not ready for what's about to go down, then the system might need to shut. Like, I don't want it to shut down because it's going to be a lot of death. There's going to be a lot of pain. There's going to be a lot of lights off across the nation. There's going to be a lot of freezing people. There's going to be a lot of poverty. There's going to be a lot of cars on the side of the road because you can't afford gas. And there is no governmental program and there's no taxes on the rich. I mean, do you guys see the fundamental issue that we're having here? We don't have jobs. Everything's going to automation. Rich folks don't have to pay taxes. And poor people are going to have to cover everything. They're literally building a serf kingdom nation right here in front of our eyes.
But my problem with the burn it down statement, and it's not that I don't agree with you with the sentiment, which is we need to start over. But the burn it down sentiment means the people who are at the bottom will hold all of the ashes.
That's right.
With the rich and the wealthy that can, put water on their houses while it burns, will be standing on top of them.
Marie Antoinette, Mondale. Marie Antoinette.
Not to let them eat cake statement, but what I'm saying is,
what happened to her?
Yeah,
she lost her head, but
yeah, but they didn't. I mean,
they didn't cut the head off of that beast that is still here.
Right. So here's what I think for me, and this is I don't think for me, if for instance you just went from burn it all down to talking about reparations, right? And who the coalition that must be built. In order to build that coalition, you need a system to build it for or within. So even in that context, when people, and I hear the 8 hours folk talk about, burn it down and the FBA burn it down or vote for what? No vote without tangibles. But my thing is, if you're anti-politics or anti-political system, then you shouldn't have a political point of view. Reparations. So
can I clarify something real quick?
Yeah. I know you won't. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I mean by burn it down is that there has to be some rock bottoms around here. That has to happen. There has to be some rock bottoms that happen to specifically middle-class white Americans. Middle-class white Americans overwhelmingly supported Donald Trump. That's what happened. That's a factual thing. Now, if they're not willing to accept the ramifications of what happens, then they need to change their mentality about who they decide is the president and who is the leader of the former leader of the free world, because we're not leading the free world anymore, folks. That's over with. We're not. China is leading the free world by far. China is clowning us. China has better technology than us. We still have the military. Our military is still powerful, and we still got some bombs that we can drop on people if it becomes necessary. But when it comes down to leading the conversation across the world right now, if you look at Africa, if you look at Mexico, if you look at Asia, China is the players right now. We lost that ability to even make America great the way that we think we can make. They think we can make America great right now. That ability is gone. So when I say burn it down, you know what I mean? You know what? We got to be real. It has to be some sort of system, or there's a lot of weapons in this country, and people can start going crazy. There's not going to be a system of law, and as it stands right now, they still got some gun things that'll blow out our back from where they stay at. No diddy. What I am saying is that there has to be some rock bottoms.
I think the rock bottoms. The rock bottoms are always,
what, Ben?
You said no. You slid that no diddy in there. Something no diddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the rock bottoms are baked into the failures of this administration.
Sorry. Slide on in.
We can hold it together. Let's hold it. I'm sorry. Sometimes it just comes out that way. Go.
Hey, what is manga? Please like and subscribe to Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap.
I'm sorry, Mondale. Go ahead, brother.
No, what I was saying was, when 200 to 275,000 people are laid off from the federal government, believe me, the institutions are going to grind to a slow halt. We see that already. We see that Russians may be able or may have access to Doge passwords. We don't know because the mainstream media ain't investigating it, right?
Right.
We saw Elon Musk people roll into the Labor Department and take all of this information out, and then all of a sudden their systems may have been trying to get access from Russian hackers. We see what's about to happen as it pertains to. We see Russia being given this light hand. All of this information, this massive amount of data that's gone, information being destroyed at the federal government level, and the FBI and the Justice Department is not doing anything about it. So we already know what it looks like for the systems to grind to a halt. The problem I'm saying is, what does that move us as it pertains to making more people in this country safe, protecting more vulnerable people, housing more homeless people? How does that bring us closer to any level of equity? And how does it address the real problem? Our white neighbors since the 70s, since the 1770s, have been voting for whiteness over anything else.
Mm-hmm.
America never had a democracy until Black people participated in it. Because until then, until we had the right to vote, and that right should not be listed as with the 15th Amendment. It should be the 60s and the civil rights, the Voting Rights Act of the 60s, right? When we got full access. That's the only time you saw people in this country having the right to vote without getting themselves hung from a tree.
So back to the whole coming full circle, man. When you say hung from the tree, you reminded me, and I wish I could remember this brother's name, who organized in Brookhaven, Mississippi, voting rights, absentee ballots, and he was killed right in front of the Lincoln County Courthouse. His name escapes me, but it's just one of the many names of people who paid the price simply for, and I'm not saying this is a go vote thing, even though y'all should have. I'm saying this as how violent these white devils have been towards actual democracy when Black folks got involved in it. And what we're seeing now is a long historical arc of the Black backlash. Hey, Queen. Hey, little Queen. How you doing over there? We're seeing the backlash to Black folks in democracy. All right, now I love that on your head. I love that.
I have my niece and nephew here. We were doing Taco Tuesday, y'all.
Taco Tuesday.
Good night.
All right.
Good night. Can he cook? Can he cook?
Yes.
Is it decent?
Yes.
Come here, get me.
Yes.
Is his tacos good?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
That is a little pretty lady right there, man.
Yeah.
Hair, all the thing.
Yeah,
I
man.
love it. I love it.
Young Queen.
All right.
Young Queen. They've been, so what we're living in right now is the backlash because of the actual potential for actual democracy. We're living in the backlash because they said, oh, Black folks got to participate. And then, oops, they elected a semi-Black president. And we have been living in that backlash ever since. What Donald Trump is doing now is simply to save his own behind, simply because of his ego, simply because he can make some money. He wants to, nothing else. He wants to be the richest person he could possibly be. He is pawning off. He is breaking up. He's chopping up the United States and breaking it up into little pieces. And he's grinding it to a halt to make sure that these institutions can't do what they need to do. And Marcus, you hitting it on the head. If you look at the very specific institutions that are being attacked, watch how they're attacking it. The people who they're firing at the IRS are not the people who are going to come after middle-class folks who are late on their taxes. They're firing the people at the IRS who go after the big ticket, after the billionaires. That entire department, those entire departments have been completely dismantled. Then you go to the Food and Drug Administration. What do? They're targeting stuff that we need, basic necessities, milk, clean water, clean air. What are they trying to do? Ensure that the United States of America, all of us are too sick to actually do anything about what they're doing to us. You go to the Department of Education. They're going to make sure that the Department of Education can't support any local public education. But what are they going to do? They're going to use the Department of Education to make sure anyone who has student loans gets all the full weight of the federal government. They're going to be able to tax, they're going to be able to seize your tax returns. They're going to be able to garnish your wages. They're going to put you in collections. And so instead of being a Department of Education, it's going to be a department of making sure everybody got a student loan is living through hell. What are they doing? The math is clear. They've been, and to be truthful, like, I am not a person who said, I told you so. I'm a person who says, we've been seeing this coming. We knew they were going to do this. We knew that this was the end goal, because a lot of it, they came out of their mouth and said very directly that they wanted to do this. They are creating a serfdom. They're creating not a middle class, not a working class, not a working poor. They're creating a situation where people who have enough money and enough guns can run the streets and dictate what happens in their local fiefdom. And we are going to be a population of people who are too sick and too hungry to do anything about it except one thing, and that's revolution. DJ said this is all biblical. I have
listen. It's all biblical, and I also say that, you know, Ben, I'm glad you
Lamar Smith. Thank you, Lamar Smith. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you. You were on fire, but yeah, I think people forget that, you know, every time Black people, you know, have an inkling, like you said, a semi-Black president caused this backlash.
He wasn't even full Black. He wasn't Jackie Robinson.
Right? This man told us in his own words, in his own book, that he learned how to be Black as a teenager. But I mean, like, every time we have any type of movement, we see this happening, right? This backlash right here is because a white man went to jail for killing a Black man. And these people still believe that there's no white man that should be locked up for killing no Negro.
That's right.
This
in the year of our Lord 2025, they believe that.
And I know it to be true. I mean, I still get death threats, right? For tearing down a Confederate monument, right? I still get people calling the SBI and other people, right? We saw this backlash, Ben, after the 60s when Black people got the right to vote. We see it and saw it all out and several times. So Black people are used to this. Cornel West said it, what Marcus said a long time ago. He said for the first time, when 9/11 happened, America was niggerized, right? And so America at large got to feel like what it meant to be Black.
I'm back on, gentlemen.
They weren't ready for this. They were alone, right? They were alone. They felt alone. Here's the difference, though, in this moment. Black people are in the majority. You ready for this? Black people are in the majority, and what I mean by that is, for the first time in the world's history, white folk in Europe are looking at white people in America like, what the hell y'all got going? Right along with Black people. So that I told you so that you don't like to say, Ben. Now I'm telling the Brits, the French, the German. Now I'm telling all of these white people that are afraid that Donald Trump, America whites, are about to crash their economy. We told y'all about y'all crazy ass white cousins in these United States. And the ramifications now is not just some Black kids on a bridge in Selma, Alabama. The ramification is Donald Trump has bloodied the world's economy.
That's right.
He's bloodied the democracy that they all depend on. Not just at the expense of Black people, everybody in this world, so that he can try and secure power in a way that they weren't ready for.
Yeah.
But here's why I can't get him a pass. Because his love for kings and queens come from their loves of kings and queens. He's willing to create a serfdom and a fiefdom because they have them. He think he can talk about Denmark and Canada in the way he do because the British dollar is still the dollar or the pound, still the pound or currency of Bermuda and other places. Right? So this Donald Trump is not a creation solely of Donald Trump. He is but a result of whiteness around this damn globe.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready to let any of them off the hook.
But would you know what I am ready to do though? And we might not agree on this, but I'm gonna say it. I will take every single one of those white allies who understand very clearly how deep the threat is and how much it is rooted in white supremacy. Come on over. Come on. If y'all in the UK and you realize the problem really is, we need y'all support. We need y'all dollars, to be honest with you. We need international funding to come into the United States to help fund and I hate this phrase because we need a better one, but the resistance against what's happening. No. Let me get specific. The black resistance to what's happening. Love the white folks in America. Yeah, God bless you. We need y'all. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing, but we cannot keep funding the same machine that helped create this. That money cannot keep going to white neoliberals. It can't go to black neoliberals. That money got to go to black power, to black revolutionaries. You know why? Because we the ones who going to be out here fighting this, because we fighting for our lives. Just by sheer virtue of surviving this, it ain't even a matter of us marching up no steps of January 6th of the Capitol. We ain't even talking about revolution like that. Just being a black family in America is revolutionary. Just being a black man in the United States of America right now, where they are intentionally doing what you said, and you said it so precisely, Mandel. They do not believe that a white person should be in jail for killing a black man. We need to ensure that us folk, that we got the resources that we need to survive, and not only survive, but push back against this system. So white folks globally, if y'all are tired of Donald Trump, y'all need to make sure that y'all not putting money into, I know y'all couldn't put it into the Democratic Party as it is, but y'all certainly should not be putting it into the mechanisms, the media organizations, the institutions. None of your donation powers should go to any institution that is culpable for Donald Trump the first time or the second time, especially not those that are playing like it's normal right now.
Hey, Ben, Mondale, I got another message to the white folks on the opposite side, right? Like that are there now, but like are slowly starting to realize exactly what's really happening, right? And you're starting to see it. So shout out to the white folks who are like, I didn't mean to vote for this. Even though you meant to vote for this, you didn't mean to vote for it because now you, right? That's fine. We'll take you. But here's the thing. And this goes to my progressive white folks also. See, y'all got a tendency of supporting neoliberal, safe black people because they make you feel safe. Y'all have a tendency of supporting the folks that won't call you out on your crap. There's a strong tendency to work angles when it comes down to who you want to speak for the black community. And Benham was right. You do need to support the revolutionaries. Why? Because we are used to doing this. Like we all three of us come through from a strong, long line of revolutionaries. Each one of us has a revolutionary person that we look up to that kind of taught us the game, or we learned the game ourselves. And also, revolution comes from necessity also, not just who teaches us things, but necessity. The problem is that the big money folks, the people who say, hey, we have to do something about this, they typically go directly to the black person that makes them feel safe, or anything that looks like black girl magic or black boy joy. And it's cap. Y'all don't want to see the gangsters. Y'all don't want to see the people who literally will shut down City Hall in real life, right? Those need to be the people that you follow, right? And you know what? I get it, especially the white folks that are coming over right now. Y'all do not like black people who shut down traffic. Y'all don't like people who shut down traffic. Y'all don't like protesters. There always has to be some kind of safe version of how you want to make change occur. You'd much rather see Jay-Z and Beyonce get on stage and song and dance before you actually do some tangible changes, or invite a Public Enemy or a Killer Mike or a or a whoever that is revolutionary on your stage to speak for your candidates. We don't need that anymore. It's time for literally a political revolution. And also, you're going to get your revolution that you want. Trump is a revolution. He's a revolution in the wrong way, but you got the revolution that you voted for. And Democrats. Yeah, Democrats. This is my moment of the show where I'm going to get on y'all real quick. Y'all soft. Y'all still soft. Y'all still soft.
Preach.
Cory Booker can stand up for another 5 weeks. Cory Booker.
They really love that.
Write a book, read a Booker. I don't care what Booker. He can he can talk for a week straight. But when it comes down to actually doing some things, when you have the chance to do it, it's time for y'all to do it, man. It is. And to be honest with you, you know, the first step that you can actually make is actually coming to Black communities and having these conversations right now. All of you, not just Bernie, not just AOC. All of y'all need to come. Because until we see y'all here, and I'm thinking about it because Mondale, Ben, y'all probably heard about this. There's a governor's race that's going on in Georgia right now.
Yep. And
Keisha Lance Bottoms has announced, and so did brother Jason Estevez has announced also, right? You pick and choose which one you like and which one you don't like. And Stacey Abrams has not made up her mind yet about whether she's going to run or not for a third term. You can love her, you can hate her, but she does have a lot of name ID that would really be really influential if she decides to run for her campaign. You know how you beat a Republican in Georgia? You register voters and you talk about the issues of people in this state. You don't talk about what consultants say. You talk about the issues of the people in this state. Mondale, Ben, I got a question for both of y'all. Why is it so hard for a basic thing to get done in order for us to win elections in the state and it never gets done? This is my question. Why is it? And this is the thing that doesn't happen. Why don't we just knock on people's doors, find out what they want to talk about, and talk about that, and then govern on what people want? Why is that so hard to do? Can one of you two tell me that, please?
Oh, I can tell you. And then Mondale, I'm sure you got to. Because they do not want people power, and they certainly don't want Black power. So knocking door to door produces people power. And if you go to the Black neighborhood and you knock on our doors, that organizes and produces Black power. They would rather lose than to relinquish any amount of power to the people, especially not Black people.
And I think Ben is, it's spot on. And I'm the only addition I would add is that, you know, these people are in politics not to change and save lives. These people are in politics to make money. When we allow politics to be so lucrative, when so many people can make $1 million or $2 million or 10 million or 100 million off of politics, when an election became $1 billion industries by themselves, then people don't want to do anything that costs, right? The reason people don't want to knock on doors, in addition to what Ben said, is because they don't get to keep the money when you knock on doors. You got to have people. You have to pay people to knock on doors. That means majority of those funds go right back out. You don't get to keep those in the house, like say someone who is buying
a commercial ad.
Yeah, ads, because you get points off the ads you buy. And the more expensive the market, well, the more money you're gonna make. So those are the reasons. I would also say that, you know, to dive deeper into Ben's thing about them not wanting people power, beyond not wanting people power, they don't want that many bosses. That's why they brag about 60% of people voting, because they don't want 90% of people voting. That means they answer to more. That's 30% increase in the odds that you got to answer to. They're not ready to be answering to that many people. Plus, it makes it harder to turn out people, 30% more people, more likely to be poor people, and also still be doing the work of rich people, ultra rich businesses and donors. That makes them look more like hypocrites than they are. And I think here's what we can ground all of this in. We had a cultural revolution that was tied to the age difference and the age change. When baby boomers start not being the largest population in our country anymore because of millennials and Zers that were of adult age, voting age, then we saw this revolution where first they said something about the kids quarters in the ears, purple hair, sagging pants. All of this was part of a cultural revolution that we were not prepared to, and it still happened. We couldn't stop it. It was too many millennials, there's too many Zers to stop that revolution. The problem with it is we didn't use the powers of that cultural revolution to create an economic, social, or political revolution. What you're seeing right now is that cultural revolution is doing something that cultural revolutions never did. It's almost as if they're giving up on influencing social and political revolution. We saw what we saw in the French Revolution, what we saw in the Industrial Revolution was people just going forward with or without the ideology of mainstream or status quo agreeing with it. We don't see that. We saw it in the Russian and Chinese Revolution as well. We don't see that right now. And I think because it's so many millennials and so many Zers that are frustrated with the ineffectiveness of a political system and ecosystem built to support white baby boomer generation, that they're just like, epic, I'm just gonna go over here and survive in my own space. So that cultural revolution, it's losing the wings that it should have done to change the economic revolution, to cause a social revolution that could have grew us a political revolution that could have been the end of those two-party systems, at least as we knew it.
Yeah, that's the sad part about it. We got left. But I think, to what extent do you think the reason that economic revolution didn't happen and that political revolution didn't happen, none of the revolutions happened, is because of the same exact thing that you said, right? We're not putting money into the places where we go knock on doors, where we develop people power, because they realize if we had that people power, we would upend this entire mess. Neoliberal Democrats as well as neoliberal Republicans. Like, if the people actually had, if we had a semi-democracy, and the way they kept that democracy suppressed was through the media as well as political consulting class to ensure that you don't really go and organize the people, you just organize enough to win, and then you do everything you can to keep the rest of them from participating. Those two things right there, I think, are the key reasons we never moved from step one, and we always start over every election cycle. We start over from scratch.
Well, I gotta say this. Let's just keep it real. The affinity for older Black voters to go with what they know is a problem. And I'm not trying to say safety is not important. I'm not trying to say that because Black folks do vote safe in their own way, right? What I'm saying is that we can tend to be a little susceptible to what is given to us and not is what we're seeing on our own. I'm not saying that we don't do our research, because Black voters are very smart. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when it comes down to our community, we have yet to get to the point where we've said, like we would say, to check this out. It's funny. If we have a cousin, we have a big Thanksgiving dinner, right? And we have a cousin, and we know that cousin is going to steal something, then we keep our eye on that cousin. We know we have an uncle that, he be lying all the time. He say that kid wasn't his. We know that kid looked just like him. Then we go, like there's certain family members that we hold more accountable than the people who actually affect our day-to-day lifestyle when it comes down to our politics. I am not trying to say that we don't vote smart. What I am trying to say is, when it comes down to neoliberals and the historical way that neoliberals win, especially through the last couple of elections, and I'm not going to say that these opposite candidates did a good enough job either. I would be remiss if I didn't say that Bernie didn't do a good enough job in the South to actually win a primary. But what I am going to say is, it is so much easier for a candidate who could just sell the same pipe dream. And I can't front. It's the Clintonism. And I'm not talking about Hillary. I'm talking about Bill. Bill's, to me, in my opinion, Bill Clinton was the first neoliberal that was president. Bill Clinton was the first Democratic neoliberal that was president. I
Democrat,
didn't say
okay,
he was the first neoliberal that ran. I said he's the first neoliberal that was president.
First Democrat, but I agree with on the Democrat.
As a Democrat. Bill Clinton went on Arsenio and played that saxophone, and the black community ain't been right since. In my opinion. It's just my opinion. And I'm not knocking all the Democratic candidates. What I'm saying is that there is something to the affinity for the ties of neoliberalism. Think about it. All of those guys are connected. We went from Bill to Gore. Rahm took the Bill thing and ran it into Obama. Obama took the hope and change thing, changed how we do politics in America. Changed how black folks actually look at Democrats in a different way. We can trust a Democrat.
And then shut down his whole. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen. It's not. And am I trying to do this? Ooh, I hate Democrats today thing. No, I'm really not. I'm actually trying to be fair in my assessment here, right? Because a lot of these guys have gotten in, and the problem is that when they get in, the big money interests they win over our voices. They historically have. They historically do. If you tell me that the American people benefited more from the Biden administration than corporations, you'd be absolutely wrong. If you tell me that the real estate companies and the big banks didn't benefit more than the American people did during the Barack Obama administration, aside from healthcare, which by the way you still have to pay for it, you'd be wrong. If you tell me that Big Pharma didn't benefit more from the Clinton administration, he established Big Pharma, really, then we'd be wrong. And to be honest with you, we have not had a Democratic candidate that their interest group was the American people. We have not had that. And if y'all tell me I'm wrong, I would love to hear it because I'm willing to listen. But we haven't had a Democratic candidate that has won a primary, became the candidate, and their interest group was purely American people. And I think that is why we keep getting into these situations where it's so easy for a Republican who can just say I'm racist to beat us. Because if you had the American interest in your mind, American people's interest in your mind, your talking points are going to be completely different than they are right now. They are. If you had a connection with the black community, if you had a connection with the Latino community, the things that you're talking about when you get up on a stage in front of 30,000 people at the DNC, whether you're the former vice president, whether you're the former vice president, whether you are Obama, your conversation with the American people will be a lot different. And that's the only thing that I'm gonna stick to that. But unless you guys can tell me something different, that's where I'm at.
I think, Andrea, I mean, listen, I have my problems with Bill Clinton. A couple things in the chat. First, Andrea, I think you're right. I have to agree with you that Carter was our first neoliberal president. And I'll tell you why in a second. But when someone said Bill Clinton was a Republican, then switched to Democrat, that's not true.
That's not true at all.
Hillary Clinton was a Republican. She was a Goldwater girl, but that's when she was in college and we all were young and whatever. But I mean, they're lifelong Democrats. Just leave it at that. But I think to talk about who was the first in this point in this context don't matter. I think Marcus is absolutely spot on in that, you know, we see the failing of people from presidents on display with the Clinton's administration, and I think that's the point that was being made. And I don't have any gripes with that. I also think I would take it a step further and say that Bill Clinton came in and those policies and those people that came with them have yet to leave let go of the reign of the Democratic Party, and that is the failure. You know, I think you know the point I was making about like millennials and Zers is, can either one of y'all name? Can any one of y'all name a baby boomer that we consider a black leader?
That we consider a black leader?
Yeah,
wait. Who's we?
Black people. I mean, like the collective.
Us three?
Not just, you know, I'm talking about black people in general.
Who's our
Oh.
black boomer leader?
Yeah,
Al Sharpton.
is Al
Now, I don't
Sharpton.
know who really see him as a leader though.
Nobody. I mean, listen. I think
He has an organization, but I don't
right
think
now Al Sharpton has an organization.
I don't
Right.
consider him my leader.
No.
Like
I'm talking about like
collectively.
collective.
collectively, yeah, there's people who see Al Sharpton as a leader.
So
There's a lot of black. I mean, if we're talking
Right.
about overall, hold
Right.
on. Wait.
No, hold on, because I just want to get to the point. That's fine. I don't need an explanation for it. Listen to what I'm saying. So what we're really saying is, there have been no black galvanizing leaders in the generation, 2-3 generations, right? Because King X were silent generation, and they were young generation. These guys were born in the 20s, 25, 29, right? Boomers were what, 46 to 64. We consider John Lewis in our mind young until he died in his 80s almost, because he was considered young when he was doing his work.
When he was doing his work,
Yeah.
And he
Hey,
wasn't
Mondale,
even a boomer.
Mondale, if I may just to your point, I just want to point something out in the chat right now. So someone said Dr. West, and this goes to a testament to Ben actually on because this is on his channel. And someone on Ben's channel said, no, not Dr. West, right? Like, check this out. That shows exactly what you're referencing, Mondale, right? That there are black people who lead some of us, and there are black people.
No, that's
Well,
not. Hold on, Marcus, but you're wrong for a different reason. Dr. West is a middle silent generational. He's born 1930. He's born 16 years before the first boomer. He can't be a boomer.
Right. So I guess what I'm getting at is the
Cornell,
overall thought
Dr.
process
Cornell West?
of does the black community have
I'm
a
talking
leader?
Gladys West. Oh,
Yeah.
I was talking Gladys West. Who you talking about?
Cornell West.
Who's that? No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. Marcus.
And I wish we could pull up the clip right now.
I love
of how
Cornell West.
excited Mondale was when Cornell West was on.
And
the
also,
show.
do you also remember on
That
our
was exactly-
show, I
Yeah.
called them out for why I
Oh
called them.
no, yeah. I mean, but it wasn't Mondale calling them out. It was nice. I'm running for office, Mayor Mondale, that was calling them out. He wasn't like, you know what?
I wasn't even running for office then. No. I wasn't running for office then. We came on our show during COVID.
That's right.
So
I also wanted to point out something
just
else.
named out our problems were
Before we move on, I just wanted.
his first run.
I'm sorry, but before we move on, I also want to say one more thing. I think our first neoliberal president was Ronald Reagan.
Nah.
Because neoliberalism. No, wait. Let me just say why I think that. Because neoliberalism.
But hold on, before you go into the let me finish my point.
Neoliberalism is nothing but trickle down economics ran by Democrats.
Yeah.
Nah, that ain't what
that is essentially neoliberalism.
The core of it. I mean, let's put a pin there because Mondale, you were making a longer point, but I do want to go back to the Reagan. I do want to go back to the Reagan and neoliberalism after that. Go ahead, Mondale.
Yeah, I mean, and so basically, what I'm saying is we've been there's been an absence of leadership.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, like, let's be serious. Mobilizing leadership since people were born in the silent generation. We're approaching 100-year gap of black leadership. I would argue that Al Sharpton was in his sunlight years when people started looking at him as a leader. And it was for different reasons, right? Al Sharpton's movement has always been very small and regional. He showed up in spaces outside of New York, but the work was against the Jewish community in New York, standing up against what they were doing to black people in New York. If you ask somebody in California or in the South what movement that Al Sharpton organized or what event that they participated in, it's gonna be hard pressed to find someone living to say that, period. Right?
Yeah.
And I think we should acknowledge and also examine how do we have a gap, 100-year gap in black leadership.
I don't want to say easily, but it was kind of easy. They neutralized the ones we had. And by neutralize, they killed them.
Church.
They neutralized the black church so effectively and so they neutralized that. with the prosperity gospel and by putting plants in almost every single church. You're not going to go to a black church and not find people who aren't there intentionally to dismantle the power there. Just not cause confusion, so chaos, right? You ensure that the leaders, that people who have positions of power are not there to serve the people. So you bring them into the fold. You bring them into the fold of the system and it's more than neoliberalism. I want to be sure, because I think neoliberalism is just the late stage manifestation of the same spirit that's been here the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But they brought them into the fold of neoliberalism and gave them a little, little power, a little notoriety, and walking up those steps of the Capitol is a powerful thing. You go in there and you look at the hall, you know what I mean? And you got an office there, and you get to go into the secret meetings, and you get to get intelligence briefings. Oh man, that seduced a whole lot of people. So you look at all the places where we would have gotten power. They killed the ones that were not able to be bought off. They bought off the ones that could be bought off, and then they completely neutralized the power base of the black church, of the black community, which was the black church. And now you have us all scattered with YouTube channels. It's pretty straightforward plan after you look at it.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that.
Oh, my man is back. Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, man. My technical stuff went all crazy today on me, so I've been going
good.
back and forth between my phone, but I should be all right now.
What is your thought on that, Mundell? What's your, like? I feel like you have I think there's something there.
Yeah, and listen, I think that's absolutely correct. And I think my problem with saying that Ronald Reagan was a person of neoliberalism is we let and I love Carter. He's one of my favorite presidents because he was a thinker. I didn't agree with all of his thoughts because people forget that, people for all the good that Carter did for race relations, he also was a redneck from Georgia. And if it wasn't for his wife, he probably would have done a lot less. You know what I'm saying? And people don't want to acknowledge that, but we're talking about a peanut farmer, but not a regular peanut farmer, a ultra rich peanut farmer. People forget that farm paid for all of the farmers around them during the Great Depression, right? It was Carter's dad paying for other poor white folk, not looking out for black people in that part of Georgia. So, but what I want to say is, his role in the state influenced economy, the idea that the government has a role to play in the economy is, to me, the most neoliberal idea. And if not, then you have to go back to him and the way he saw trade and got out of the way of trade barriers so that we can make this economy a geographical thing that is beyond any borders, like an international thing. Those are neoliberal ideologies.
Yeah,
then you got to almost go back to Nixon then, because we want to open up China.
No, we absolutely. Hold on, guys. Hold on, Marcus. Because I want to hear your point, but I need you to sit on your mic until I finish because I want to land this plane. Oh, Ben, you're absolutely right. And I would say Nixon if that was the case. But the question was, who was the first neoliberal Democrat? Right? And that's why when somebody said Reagan that's the question that Marcus poses, who's the first neoliberal Dem? Because I think you're absolutely right. Richard Nixon has a role to play in the deregulation and all of that, but his role was sinister, more sinister, I think, than Carter in that he wanted to maintain the status quo. I mean, rich white people keep getting richer while everybody else, I mean black people, because that was everybody else. I mean, there were brown people in the country, but there was limited immigration from people outside of the country at the time, unless you were white, stayed poor. So his role was that. And I think Jimmy Carter, his relationship with ultra rich hippies and people at the time, people forget how much weed was being smoked at the White House, how many people had access that were super rich people at that time. I think we forget who had influence on Carter, and because he put on jeans and he had hippies in the White House, people forgot that he was ultra rich, doing business and doing international business, right? And I think people forget that, and he played that role of, I don't want to be wealthy when I'm gone, and people forgot that, or allowed themselves to forget what like white people also do so often. That this man didn't come from small backgrounds or menial backgrounds.
There is I guess
the fix been in a long time.
I guess what I would like to do, and that was a great like explanation. I guess what I want to do is define because when I say neoliberal, and I think this is an important clarification for Marcus, right? When I say neoliberal, I mean the folks who are willing to ridiculously allow the wealth gap to increase at the highest rates, right? That's what I think. That's what I think. I think neoliberalism is, and this might not be the official term, but this is the ramifications of neoliberalism to me. So so I'm thinking, like, when I think about when I think about how much a CEO would get paid, or how much a mayor would get paid, no offense, Mayor Minor, or how much a president would get paid versus how much a janitor is going to get paid, how much a worker at a assembly line worker will get paid, and the process of not allowing minimum wages to go up, the process of not taxing the CEOs enough. When I think about that, and I think about when the large increase, because Carter, yeah, there was an increase of how much CEOs made in the late 70s, early 80s, but it was nowhere near where Clinton came in and was like, yeah, you guys got it. That was the begin. Like, that was like, we got to think about, when I think about neoliberalism, I think about the people purely. I think about two things. I think about being a Democrat and not fighting for police reform. I think that's neoliberalism. And I also think that the folks who allow the wealth gap in America to increase at the number that they increase at, and I'm not talking about the official definition again, I'm talking about the ramifications of what neoliberalism is, right? So the biggest problem that Americans have right now, black, green, red, yellow, purple, whatever color you are, is you're not getting paid for your work. And there is a person that can lead that conversation that has not been leading it, and we have not seen that led, and that is the president. The president can actually push agendas. I'm not sitting like you said, Ben, because I don't want to get out of that thought process that there is not that there's not going to be hurdles in the way. Like, if we can have a progressive president, and it can always be Congress is like, ain't no way I'm doing that, right? But on the same token, can we look at the Republican Party right now, and can we see how the Republican Party is just not, like, I think 50% of the Republicans right now do not agree with Donald Trump when it comes down to tariffs. But are they saying anything? Are they doing anything? So when I think neoliberal, what I'm saying is the people who have allowed the wealth gap to increase, CEOs to make 200 to 500 to 1 when it comes down to the amount of money that their workers increase. I am talking about folks who are not even down with trying to do any universal anything. And like any, but like, if you think about it, the last universal anything that has happened in America is FDR. No, Eisenhower, because we were allowed to drive on highways and without paying fucking fees. And we still have to pay them because we have to pay taxes, right? So that's just my thought process.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm off, but that's my thought process.
Yeah, Bo, tell your mom I'm smoking only hookah. So no, just hookah. And that's bad enough. But here's, for me, the reason I think people let Carter off the hook is because of his image, not because of his president. And the reason I focus on Carter so much is that was the first president I knew. I was born in 79. And you know those little, have you ever seen those little pamphlets that tell you what was going on the year you were born?
Yeah.
I used to have one of those, and I used to be fascinated with it. And that's how I know I was born the same year that Sony and mass produced the first CD, right? And I was like, damn, that technology died quick. And it scared me because it was like, damn, like, you know, the influence of my generation was almost next to nothing. And for me, I mean, I just remember things that happened that we don't talk about, that Carter, while he ran as a Democrat and is a Democrat, or was a Democrat while he lived, his presidency was that of a neoliberal. And what I mean by that was, let's think about the deregulation under Carter. Y'all guys forget, and I'm not saying you actually forget. You remember the airline deregulation in 1978? The railroad, trucking, finance industry, that all paved the way for everything you saw under Reagan. The hard fight happened under Carter. Then he did something that was super dastardly. In 1979, the year I was born, that Bama had the audacity to appoint Paul Volcker as Fed chair. And Paul Volcker was laser focused on inflation, and he didn't care about high unemployment. And then Carter did the ultimate neoliberal thing. He started cutting the social welfare programs. about that. He started cutting social welfare program because he said stagflation was a thing, high inflation and unemployment rate, even though they created unemployment with his Fed not caring about it. So stagflation that led to Ronald Reagan's policies of trickle down started with the deregulation of industries, and the ability for these CEOs to be paid and create these wealth gaps happened because of Carter. And that's why, to me, he is the first neoliberal Democrat ever elected in this country.
Hey, you know what, Mondale, you bring up, and you know what? You actually bring up a great point. I agree with you. Now that I think about it. So let me just give you props where props is due. But let me say something else, man, that's important. Hey, Democrats. Mondale is a very smart brother, but he ain't the first person to know all this stuff. Right?
And if I am, what y'all doing? What y'all doing all them billions of dollars?
Yeah, right. So, well, Mayor, I expect you to run for a larger seat at some point when I become mayor of my city. I just trade out with you, but it's neither here nor there. What I am saying is very simple, though. There are Democrats that know everything that Mondale just said. They know exactly what the wealth gap is in America. You think President Obama didn't know the wealth gap was what it was? You think Bill Clinton didn't know what the wealth gap was what it was? You think there wasn't struggling Americans? Look at how Trump is putting his hand in the dirt right now, pulling up earthworms and everything and throwing it in y'all faces. And you mean to tell me that there was absolutely nothing that these guys could do with this issue right now? And now toxic neoliberalism and toxic conservatism, toxic neoconservatism has literally created leaders within the Defense Department, within all these different places across our government right now that are taking taxpayer money, not using it for American services, actually cutting American services and only allowing big money interests to continue to be there right now and doing it blatantly in front of our faces. And I'm wondering why no one has talked about these things, why none of our Democratic leaders who we love so much have actually done something about it. So, honestly, history is history, but I no longer care about the next neoliberal. Gavin Newsom, neoliberal. Point blank, same thing. Rahm Emanuel, neoliberal. 70% of the the Congressional Black Caucus, neoliberal. So what are we gonna do, fellas? I mean, if we're gonna keep it real about economic issues in America on this show, then the thing is that we have to stop accepting what our side of the house offers when it comes down to how we fight Trump. We have to, or it's gonna be the same thing over and over again, and we're gonna be doing clickbaity every single week, doing the same exact shit over and over again, and I'm tired of it, bro. So what are we gonna do? Like, we can point out the history, right? We can point out campaign flaws. Trust me, I will. Right? We can point out X, Y, and Z, but we'll get hyped over somebody. Well, I'll get hyped over somebody doing one little awesome thing for the American people, and then all of a sudden, that motherfucker ends up being bought by Pfizer or APAC or whatever. Sorry for cussing, but that's just where I'm at.
As long as it ain't me, is really the
okay.
but no, I want to say this to your observation. They know. They read Karl Marx. They didn't read him to learn what they should do. They read him to learn how they prevent it from happening. And they have successfully, and this is why I want to distinguish neoliberalism is just the boil, the fester of the underlying disease that has been here since before Marie Antoinette, right? We're dealing with the same spiritual wickedness in high places. Let's just call it what it is.
And the same families.
Same bloodlines, same families. Let's go. Come on, let's just be real about it, right?
Real quick.
We are dealing with people who don't mind making millionaires in order to protect their billions. You can adjust for inflation, right? In the past, it was, different levels of wealth, but they know, and this is what I said earlier, the fix has always been in. What we've done, I think what a lot of people have done, let's say, I can't say a lot, let me say me. What I've done in my vote is, one, as I educated myself to the fact that the fix was in. Let me tell you when I finally realized the fix was really, really, really in, was when Obama, before he was elected, helped to negotiate the bailout for the, well, to what extent he helped negotiate it, but he certainly voted and supported the bailout for the banks versus the bailout of the people, when we all know full well if you bail out the people, you bail out the banks at the same time, circa 2007, circa 2008. Once he did that, I kind of knew. I said, they don't intend on doing anything right by workers, by the poorest people in this country. But then when you look at how this system has bifurcated since then, like all the choices that we've had since then, you're still in a bind between two other things. Neoliberalism that had, again, nothing more than just the latest form of capitalism. Capitalism ain't nothing more than the latest form of serfdom and fiefdoms and kings, right? Before Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, before we even knew to call it capitalism, it was always those with the capital versus those with the labor. That's been, I think that is a universal thing, right? But we also had to deal with this resurgence of white supremacy. And so when I talk about economics in the United States of America, you kind of have, you can't disconnect that it's ethnic capitalism. It's capitalism to the service of white people. They don't mind some black folks getting wealth in order to protect and insulate. They'll let our pseudo-black leaders, they'll let our semi-black president be semi-black so long as they protect that ultra wealth that's at the top. That said, though, I think tying back to those black boomers and all those who vote consistently with the Democratic Party, I sense that they sensed the same thing that I sensed, was that these white folks were starting to lose their mind in a very dangerous fashion. And so they consistently voted with the Democratic Party, not in search at all for economic liberation, but in a way to, can we just hold off the racism, which that ultimately didn't work either. So now we're here with both. We're both a full-blown ethnic capitalistic state where the money is designed to go to nobody else but white folks, and then that layer, that real thin layer of color that protects them.
Yeah, excuse me. And I think the problem with that is our party wants these elaborate programs and platforms every year that don't include the 5 things that we simply need to do, right? And I think, maybe I'm making it too simple, or maybe I'm too stupid to make it too complex. But I think, and I'm just sitting here listening to y'all, I'm taking notes as y'all speak, and I think both of y'all were saying something, what's missing in our ability to come back. Well, Marcus, you said, what do we do? Well, we get serious about 5 things. And the first one is to reclaim the role of the state, right? We need a state that is investing more in public investments, right? Taking back, and that investment include things that don't seem like they create wealth, like healthcare. We need a full healthcare system. We need more investment in public education. We need a full free education. As much as you want to go to school, it should be free. We need housing for every citizen. We need infrastructure that's not killing poor people. The second thing we need, come on, guys, stick with me for a minute. We need to strengthen collective power. If our economy is not about strengthening unions and workers' ability to say what they will and will not work for, then we are just doing the bidding of capitalism and neoliberalism. We find ourselves with a Donald Trump right now, who is neoliberalism on strength because we haven't done a third thing. We've not come up with an alternative economic movement or platform. Because what they say is there's no counter to neoliberalism. But the truth of the matter is we need to stop thinking about growth. We need a degrowth ideology. We need a post-growth ideology that focuses on people and people's lives, right? And the human aspect of living, and not making it that people live simply to work for rich people.
Well,
we are not cogs in the system. And the fourth thing we got to do, we got to reframe our ideology. We need a different ideology, man. And I don't know if we don't know that if we're not talking about in a moment right now, if we're not talking about in a moment right now that AI is the leading worker, and if it's not, it will be real soon in our lives. So we need to be talking about what universal basic income look like in a real sense. We're going to have more poor people that are not even employed to be a cog in the system where rich people get wealthy off of us. And the last thing we haven't and we are afraid to do is build social movements that can govern. We have not built progressive leaders that can make progressive ideas the leading effing cause that people are fighting for. Because if you take off titles and talk to rednecks in rural spaces, they are super progressive. They care more about those policies, but you can't use terms like Obamacare. You can't use things like DEI, and you still can animate these people. So my thing is, if we're not doing those 5 things, our platform don't say clearly those 5 things. If we don't sit down and think about what it means, we are playing politics in a time where we shouldn't be playing anything.
Let the church say amen.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Listen, on that note, before we continue, because Mondale he just put the M in mayor, and he also put the M in mandate. So let me just go ahead and say that. Amen. Amen again. And also, folks, you're watching Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. That right there, Ben, that needs to be clipped. And also, more importantly, if you got a Facebook page right now, there's a share button on whatever YouTube channel that you're watching right now. You need to share this. If you haven't liked and subscribed to our channel yet, which, by the way, you probably have, but if you haven't, please like and subscribe. Mondale just laid down the law for us. Like, subscribe, and share. Do me a favor before we even get into another topic, because we're getting close to time. In fact, we are in time. If just right now, go on your Facebook page. Put a squirrel up once you've done it. Go on your Twitter page. Go on your TikTok page. Share this link to that, and then type an acorn in or a squirrel in after you do it. And we're gonna wait. We're gonna be quiet for a second. My dad has delivered our answer. I asked a question, he delivered the answer, and then he delivered the answer that we all need. But I need everybody right now. I know I'm going into my pastor mode, like Mondale done preach. Ben is the deacon, and I'm the guy collecting the money right now. I need us to go ahead and just share this somewhere else right now. I want everybody watching to just share this right here, because I think it's important for voices and conversations like this to get out to other people. And believe it or not, y'all might think y'all lame. Y'all might think y'all are awesome. Y'all might be empaths. Y'all might be a narcissist. Y'all might be everything. But people listen to you, and the more people that share this, the more content we can get out, and the more people that we can actually have this voice go out to, because conversations like this are necessary. So before we say another word, and before we get up off this channel, I want to see some squirrels. I want to see that you shared it somewhere else than you shared it here before. Okay, there you go. That's what I'm talking about, Silky. Anybody else? Anybody else coming with it? Or are we just gonna be?
Do we have any squirrels in the audience? Do we have any squirrels?
Any squirrel gang in
any
the
acorns? Any acorn? Hang on. I think they need a little inspiration. Hang on. Let me give them the offering music. Hang on. All right. Now, any squirrels? You hear that? You cut it out.
No.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. We need to share it.
Once
I know
you come.
we ask quite a bit, right? We
Once
always ask. But thank you to every single person who is sharing, liking, subscribing, and tell other people about it. Y'all go to work. Most of y'all got jobs. If you don't have jobs, you got a baby daddy, you got a baby mama. Like, go ahead and tell them about what we're doing right here, because it's very, very, very important. Thank you, Lorraine. We really appreciate that. Mondale, I do want to give you props for what you just said, because you gave an adequate answer to what I asked you. What are we going to do? Right, you laid that one down, bro, and I appreciate it.
I was waiting on Bougie Barbie. Bougie Barbie set me up. I thought she was going. They were going to enumerate all 5 of them. I was going to put all 5 of them on screens. I was excited because you were putting that down, man. But I was definitely. So does Ben want a communist revolution? No.
I wouldn't mind one.
Well, I tell you why. I want a kingdom revolution.
Oh,
Kingdom of God economic system is far more radical than communism could ever be. Don't get me wrong, Karl Marx was certainly in the spirit. He was anointed. He tapped into something that was universal, galactic, and cosmic, something that transcends humanity. His mathematics was 100% correct. But he just didn't go far enough. I have a whole series on the Kingdom of God economic system. There needs to be a kingdom revolution.
Now, my politics are very simple because I don't think I even have a term, or there's even a term created for what I believe in, because what I believe in is very simple, and there's no, like, there might be a term, but I haven't heard anybody use it yet. Follow black people because white America will be better when they do that.
Can I echo that? Because one thing I know about the Kingdom of God system is that it is based on the least of these. And wherever you find the least of these, the investment in the least of these is literally what is needed to help everybody. Everybody. It's an economic, it's mathematical, just basic sense. If the top gives to the bottom, it matriculates up to the middle, and we all get better. Who is at the economic bottom of every economic strata in the United States of America? Black people. Put your money in black people and watch blackness bless everybody. Why? Because y'all messed around and made us the bottom of the least of these in the United States of America. Now, I know I want to make the only caveat I'm going to give here is that we have a very diverse, homeless and unhoused population that's growing astronomically in the United States of America. That homelessness, that unhousedness is multicultural. And so the true least of these now transcends just black people, but it still includes black people because of the lineage and the economic debt that y'all owe to us. So put your money in black folks, put your money in workers, and put your money in the unhoused, and watch how it's the same thing back to 2007, 2008, Marcus. If they had bailed out the people, the banks would have automatically been bailed out. The economy would have automatically been bailed out. So they want to prevent us from putting the money, like God says, into the hands of the least of these, because they, honestly, they are spiritual wickedness in high places. I don't even want to give them the benefit of the doubt of explaining what their economic rationale is, because at the end of the day, their economic rationale is destructive. This is why who's a former secretary of the of Treasury for Clinton, short man, only man shorter than me. What's his name?
Damn, he's shorter than you.
Yeah, no, he tiny. He like 4 foot. I can't think of his name. Somebody put in the chat. But he wrote a book about saving capitalism from itself. When you engage in capitalism and when you engage in neoliberalism, it is automatically a death sentence to your economy in the long run. You have to put your money in the poorest people in your system to see your system continuously grow.
Hey man, it's wrong. It's wrong. Like I want to just point this out. Rahm Emanuel is one of the major factors in why Obama made that decision.
That's right.
Michelle Obama stopped liking Rahm because Michelle was like, hey, you know what? We should bail out the people. Rahm was like, nah, we should bail out Wall Street. Understand something. What did Rahm do after Barack got out of office? What was his first job? No, it was not mayor.
He was a lobbyist, wasn't he?
That's my trivia question for tonight. What was Rahm Emanuel's first job when he got out of the Obama administration? Somebody answer that. My trivia question for tonight. I'm looking for chat responses. I'm looking for chat responses. I want to see somebody come up.
Some chat responses. Hang on, let me get it.
I think Ben answered it, didn't he?
No.
He wasn't a lobbyist first?
No. When he got out of when Rahm Emanuel left the Obama administration,
being mad about it, but I can't remember the position.
What was his first job before he ran for mayor of Chicago? That's the trivia question for the night from Marcus. I mean, it should be obvious. Who loves Rahm the most?
Oh, I don't know where you're going with that one. I don't want to answer.
I don't know.
Who loves Rahm the most?
Rahm became an investor, a trader for Wall Street. Rahm was a banker.
Oh, somebody got a black magic.
That's right, black magic. You got a black magic? Absolutely. Well done. Rahm's first job, Rahm was an investment banker when he ran for mayor of Chicago. And then people ask the question, why South Side Chicago? Why West Side Chicago was still in the same economic predicaments that they were in before and after? Why he was more willing to put pieces of money from the city budget that everybody pays taxes for into police departments and into downtown within the loop. And by the way, listen, I know Chicago very well. My company's in Chicago. Chicago is a city that I love. My grandmother lives there. I have many family members that live there. Southside, stand up. 95th and Vernon, stand up. All y'all folks down there, I don't mean folk like that, so don't get mad at me if y'all watching. But all my folks in Chicago, all my people in Chicago, stand up. What I mean is this right here. Rahm is being considered by establishment folks to be a voice still. Y'all remember for a couple of years, Rahm went away. Rahm was not around for a couple of years. You remember that? He was quiet. Why was he quiet? Because that F-boy know what he did with who? The Quan McDonald. He know what he did.
Yeah.
He had to get quiet.
Can I say what he did?
He had to
my
get
God
quiet.
Almighty. How many was 17 shots, wasn't it?
16 shots in a cover-up, baby. 16 shots in a cover-up.
And a cover-up. And he covered it up just long enough for him to get reelected.
And then when he got reelected, he went through turmoil. Why? Because black folks was like, how you gonna do that, bro? Listen, Rahm's America is going to be, and that's what I'm afraid of. That's why him and Gavin Newsom getting together and doing conversations, which you probably could pull up if you wanted to right now, Ben. But him and Gavin Newsom doing conversations right now should scare black people and also free people in America just as much as Trump does. Now, don't get this confused. Do not get this confused. Will black people be more accessible to the White House? Yeah. Will black people be more accessible to getting elected with a Rahm Emanuel and a Gavin Newsom? Yeah. Their diversity coats Trumpism. They will be able to deal with foreign powers a little bit better because they're not on that same level. But we have to be realistic about what's happening. And the reason why I say that is because it's on us, free-thinking people, to choose who's going to fight against Trump on a one-on-one. Because that's coming up faster than you think. Next April, we all got to start thinking about who's going to fight against Trump.
Well, I mean, you concluding that he gonna go for a third term?
I think Trumpism is going to last forever.
Now we're gonna bury that. Excuse me, Lord.
We're gonna have to figure out something.
I've seen it. God gave it to me like this yesterday. There is going to come a time shortly where MAGAism is going to feel like a fever dream, where people are going to be running away from it. They're going to be embarrassed to have ever been associated with it because we have to thoroughly destroy them so much. Partly is they're destroying themselves right now.
How long did the Third Reich
half the work they're doing to themselves right now?
How long did the Third Reich last? 13 years, 12 years, 14 years? How long did it last?
You got me on that one. I don't know.
I think it was somewhere around 20 to, 5, like 8 to, no, it was like 13 years, right? The Third Reich was around. It was around
12 years.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, 12 years.
Well, we're already in year 10 of MAGAism. Can think about it. We've been dealing with Donald Trump since 2016.
Honestly, I think we're in year 3, like 2 of MAGAism, because this version of MAGA was not Trump #1.
Well, Third Reich, they started out as Third Reich.
Good point.
Yeah. No, we've run our course with MAGAism. It honestly, I guess we coming full circle to what you said at the top of the show, Marcus. Because he is bottoming out this
So 97 years. They go both.
he is making America hit rock bottom. And he's partly doing the work that's necessary for us to bury this once and for all. But here's the thing, and this is where I agree with you 100%. It will not be buried once and for all if all we do is put in the next neoliberal. It won't. It will provide the opportunity for something worse than Trump is. And that's hard to imagine right now, but that's just the cycle of world history.
So I got a question for you. Guys. Hey, man. So if they put in another neoliberal, if Democrats in a primary elect another neoliberal, and then there is a Trumpist, a MAGAist that's a Republican, is there a moment possible that we ever go third party or figure out something else? Or like, are y'all going to tell me right now, my brothers, that we just have to go with the neoliberal again? I am asking that for future sake, and I'm asking that because
I'll answer that.
I fundamentally think that the Democratic Party is like rigs everything now.
Flush the toilet and wash your hands.
Do it.
I had a dad for a second.
Somebody about to catch one.
You better wash the hands and flush that toilet. I had to make a song about it. Close the toilet, flush the toilet, wash your hands, and cut off the lights. That's a whole song. Look,
everybody's having a parent moment except me, the guy over here with no kids, nobody. I'm just
listen. I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. This is how I look at neoliberalism. No, I know. No. I gotta split it in two, man. Institutionalism. Without institutions, we don't have any capacity. All we have is who has the most guns.
Oh, wow.
I can't live in that society. Will I live to fight another day having to vote for Gavin Newsom? My goal is for us to not have to get there. My goal is that we need to solidify Black power so much that we make that statement right now before we even get to that possibility. I don't want us to have to come to that crossroad. But if we come to that crossroad and this Gavin Newsom versus JD Vance, do I understand that the swing back is going to be bad? Yeah. But to have 4 years of actual institutions still in place where these next 4 years is going to be the destruction of all institutions, including the institution of voting. Let another 4 years come after that. MAGA is here permanently. There is no coming back. I don't think we can allow them to get in 4 years of this mode of MAGA where they destroy every institution that we could possibly live to fight another day. I think it's checkmate.
Mondale, you all right, man?
Yeah, I got allergies. I'm stuck on. I'm over here. I was laughing. Somebody said I should be on the Supreme Court. Man, I'll be fighting with Thomas on that court every day. They'll kick me out. I'll be barred from the Supreme Court for punching justice. But listen, go ahead, man.
You know what I would do though, Marcus? I would try to convince every Black person in this country to go vote in the Republican primary so that we can have our pick of a Republican that's not MAGA versus a neoliberal who's going to set up the next MAGA. I would say I would honestly, if we came down to something of that disgusting of a choice, we'd have to do something pretty creative.
Yeah.
Doing that would ensure that we would have the least Black friendly candidate in the Democratic Party.
In the Democratic Party?
Yeah, if all the Black votes were not participating.
Why do we have to settle for Democratic friend? I mean, Black friendly.
No, I'm not settling. That's not what I'm settling for. I'm saying
he's saying if we did that move.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get you.
Yeah. The idea is progressives need to take over the primary process in general. That's my scene. And because the Democrats do a horrible job of sending out their voters anyway, 20-some% of the voters, all we need is a little bit more of progressive voters to go to the primary, and then we have a road.
Okay.
Imagine how powerful it is we go to the convention with 4 less than the number needed to win or them not having a majority or enough to win what do you know what the role will be about in the platform if progressives showed up with that kind of power?
But I do want to say this real quick though, fellas. I kind of need us to end the show because I need to share something with y'all.
I definitely want to do that, but can we end on something
positive? Better.
It ain't positive. It's as American as apple pie and baseball.
Oh,
Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah. Yep. Now, hang on. I already got that video ready.
So if you've not seen what's happening to Shannon Sharpe right now, it is absolutely crazy to me. This same lawyer who went after Jay-Z, who finally the lady finally came forward and said that she was put up to it, didn't happen. It's doing the same thing as Shannon Sharpe. Here's the problem. Shannon Sharpe had crazy text messages that he released of this woman texting him. And the thing she was asking for, put a dog chain around my neck and put a big black baby in me and do stuff to my a-hole. The stuff she was asking for. And then her lawyer having the audacity to threaten to put out a 30-second video when Shannon Sharpe said that video was edited by the lawyer to look a certain way. He said put out the entire video. It's absolutely scary. You can play the video?
Yeah, you want to hear it? I'll roll it. Hang on.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Here we go. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all of you guys. Thanks.
Listen, I appreciate this brother not going in a hole because we know what's going to happen. Listen, I like Bakari, but Bakari was saying that Shannon shouldn't have said nothing. He's getting bad advice. I think you got to say something in this moment. We saw exactly what happened when you sit silent and don't say anything. This is absolutely crazy. Is that revenge porn? It absolutely seemed like it to me. And the fact that you're editing the video to 30 seconds when it should be a 10-minute video tells me that out of that 10 minutes, because if it was 10 minutes of damning information, you would let go of 10 minutes of it, but you're not doing that. Now, with that said, here's what I'm going to say. Shannon Sharpe, 54-year-old. What do you want with a 19-year-old? What, bro? You got too much money to be out here acting like that. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Hey man, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. And I no longer am going to play this game about like. Here's my thing. No matter what happens, dude. Like we can look at Jonathan Majors, we can look at like just so many black men just across the board, and I don't care anymore. I don't care if whoever looking at Clickbaity right now and says, "Oh, Marcus, you toxic." This I don't care. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth right now. Black men are scarred. All y'all gotta do is just come up, like whether he's right or wrong, right? The accusation at this point in America, just the accusation, scars us. Jonathan Majors lost the Marvel contract, got proved to be right, and still didn't get his money right. All y'all got to do is just say, black man here, I am here, this is what happened, and just because of the accusations, you lose becoming the primary villain in fucking Marvel. Look, y'all can like Shannon, y'all can not like Shannon, y'all can think he's thirsty, y'all can think he's LGBTQIA. Y'all can think whatever the hell you want to him. Y'all can think whatever. All that matters is he got that accusation. Now, check this out. Shannon Sharpe provided us one of the most contextual, beautiful interviews of American history at the beginning of this year. His interview with Cat Williams
Most watched ever.
was probably one of the best interviews that was ever done in media. Changed America, actually, in its own way. You think he would have been getting sued for $50 million as a tight end for the Denver Broncos? No. But it doesn't matter whether he wins or loses. All it is that, really, either he pays out some money right now. They might be asking for $50 million, but they want that Cat Williams money. They want that $10 million, no matter what. Whether he did it or not, they're hoping that he settles. And what I'm sick of is no matter what happens, automatically, when a black man in America gets anywhere, that's why Barack Obama probably had his penis tied somewhere behind his back and never even thought about anybody and walked away from everything. That's why, what's your boy name, who played Killmonger, who played in one of the greatest movies that just came out ever, Sinners, Michael B. Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever notice Michael B. Jordan on the red carpet, he doesn't touch women. He doesn't shake their, like, he really hardly gives them hugs. He gives them the air hugs.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Why? Because Michael B. Jordan, watch what happened to all the other black people, all other black men. We have to be, and I'm going to tell you something. I am not saying that black men are innocent in every situation. Please believe me, R. Kelly did some of that shit. But what I am saying is a lot easier and a lot lower bar for black men to get accused. Matter of fact, you know what's funny, fellas? Mondale, Ben, you know what's funny?
What's that?
I couldn't even say what I'm saying right now 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You weren't even allowed to defend black men in public. That's how bad it is for black men. Y'all might not want to say that. I'll say it. Cancel me.
I'm going to say something.
But, like, that's how easy it is. And I'm not sitting up here saying that this man is innocent because we don't know everything that happened. What I am saying is that I promise you he done already lost some money just because of the accusations. And I also said this right here. A lot of the accusations that came out against Oprah, a lot of stuff that came out against Oprah. You think Oprah lost a dime? No. No. And it's not a black woman, black man thing because I believe Harvey Weinstein was the worst out of them all. And he's still making bread off his old movies. But we ain't going to talk about that. We ain't going to talk about that. So I'll let y'all boys have it. I think this, I think the simple fact that all you have to do in America is literally just point a finger at a black man and say, that, like when you point the finger, as soon as that finger goes like this, boop, game over. Mondale, you done went through it. Ben, I don't know if you went through it or not, but I know for a fact that me and Mondale done went through it publicly. And it sucks. All right, I'm done.
It's hard for me to say what I got to say, but I'm gonna say it because it's I got I get it. I don't give it, I get it on every level. But at some point, you gotta be willing to control your dick. This got nothing to do with the accusation against him. It's got everything to do with my brothers in Christ. Control your dicks.
It hit me late. But it just hit. Okay, go ahead, Ben.
Here, the reason I say this is because what destroys most men, it's going to fall in one of three categories: alcohol, gambling, or women.
Well, you sound like a 1920s preacher.
I got that from a 1920 preacher all day. All day. My granddaddy told me that. He said, Ben, what destroys a man is alcohol, gambling, and women. Now, it's a little easier for me because I wasn't tall enough to get all the women I wanted to get. was a little bit easier for me. So I got a little bit of privilege here. Like, you know, I had to work a little extra hard. I had to have like really good talk game, which is why I'm such a great speaker now. Cause I used to snag some really beautiful women for my height. You know, Shannon Sharpe, he said something on his show. He said, I know why some of them, you know, some of the ugly dudes, they so smart because they ain't out there getting all the. Shannon is built like a Greek god. Got the women throwing everything at him every second of the day. He can get anything he absolutely wants. Brother, a 19-year-old? I don't care if it's legal. Black men control yourselves.
Barely.
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 And I ain't saying this on no prude stuff, because I get it. Oh man, the greatest thing on God's green earth is a sexy woman. God bless America. All that good stuff. Fellas, control.
Close the door.
Hey, but hold on, but there's a first off, absolutely, I'm not disagreeing with you, Ben, but I have a fundamental problem with one thing. The fingers get pointed all the time. Across the board. You know what? What you're saying is what we say to each other when we're not on Clickbaity. What we're saying is what we say to our friends in our personal day-to-day circles. What you're saying is what we say as high-performing black men to each other all the time. High-value black men. Kevin Samuels, we call all three of us high-value black men. What you're saying we say to each other all the time. The problem is that it doesn't match society. It doesn't match what is real and what's fake. And what I mean by that is we don't get, oh, my mama coming. My mama about to walk in. We don't get the same deference when it comes down to accusations. And I'll stay there, Ben, man, you're in Technicolor, bro. What's going on?
I'm coming right back.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. So I listen. I just think for me it's we see the same lawyer doing the same trick. That's my thing. And we also know. I hear what you're saying, Marcus. I hear what you're saying, Ben. And to me, the 19 and I mean, Shannon Sharpe got a daughter older than that.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, that's yucky.
That's a problem.
You gotta be daughter older than that. His oldest daughter, I think, is Kayla. What is it? What is the kids? Kayla. He got 2 girls and a boy, and his older one is a daughter. She's 20-something, 30-something maybe. So I think that to me was the yucky part. I also think to me, you know, there's some truth what Marcus said. We see all of these. I mean, Russell Simmons' daughter's with a 60-year-old white man, and she barely 18. We see all of these famous white actors, even Leonardo DiCaprio with these young women, and he's in his 50s too. Nothing said, you know, and I think
Leo's 49.
Yeah, that's 50.
Yeah.
Sorry, Marcus, you 50.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
49.
And if I'm 50, you 50, bro. Let's go.
I'm 45, about to be 46 on Sunday.
You're 50.
Okay, I'll take that. Thank you. That makes me old for a black man. I'm 50 with a 42-year-old wife, not no 19-year-old girlfriend from OnlyFans.
Hey.
Come on.
Imagine if you're 19 and Shannon Sharpe shows up in your OnlyFans account.
He shouldn't show up in their account.
I will agree with you on that part.
Shannon Sharpe, if he's gonna be single out here, he should have his own website of women that are verified, that are already, you know, that he ain't about to go through this.
And I know, yeah, and there's some baddies on the planet.
Mondale, go ahead and finish your thought, though, Mondale, because I want to say something. I don't want to miss your point you were about to make, Mondale.
It's a simple point. We should, and I think this is the control your D conversation that Ben was having. There has to be a level of discipline associated with having opinions that you can't make hard or not soft. So we know we can't control the direction, but you can control the direction.
Come on. Come on, man. Everybody, listen. I don't know too many people on the planet who don't love it. We should. It's there for a reason. God bless America.
What's the it you talking about?
It. What I'm saying though is Shannon Sharpe, you almost a senior citizen. I can't tell a man how to live his life. I don't care if I am a pastor. But let me tell you something. If you out here at that age and don't have control over yourself, not to put yourself in this situation with a 19-year-old, and you have literally the pick of the litter, excuse terminology, but you literally can be with almost anybody you want to be with, brother. Like, come on, there's some 60-year-old women out here who bodies is banging like a 19-year-old. What are we doing here, fam?
Hey, Angela Bassett.
Come on, what are we doing? So
Ben,
it ain't about being a prude, because I ain't one. I'm just a well-disciplined man who loves his wife.
Ben, I stand corrected. Shannon Sharpe's oldest daughter is 33 years old.
Come on, man. The woman he was with is old enough or is young enough to be his daughter's daughter, to be his granddaughter.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
You should not be a person out here, and it's not even about influence because he got so much to lose. I get all that, and I don't want to set the improper expectation. I do think the more you have to lose, the more you need to walk circumspectly. I'm gonna use my church.
Ben, I don't date 19-year-olds. I don't date anybody in their teens. That's not my thing. But I do have a legitimate question for both of you gentlemen.
What's that?
As married men, what's the youngest can a guy go?
To me, I don't date anybody younger than any of my oldest niece.
Anybody older than your oldest son? And how old is your oldest niece?
You know what? I'll say like this. It depends.
30-something.
It depends on how
30,
old you are.
30-something. So for you, you gotta for Mondale, you gotta be in your 30s. All right.
No. For me, you can't be nothing. I'm married.
Hello.
You ain't about to walk me to no point.
All right, yeah. Okay, so but what I'm
No, Paul was that mule, that stubborn mule over there, Paul, in the north end of the field. No,
listen, the oldest I dated a woman who was 16 years older than me. She was 46, I was 30. That's a good age to do that at.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you're 46, you with a 30-year-old, it's a little sketchy, but it's all right. I think it's a little doable.
So I got a question.
But if you're 30 and you date someone 16 years younger than you,
first off,
Marcus, Stewart put some math in the screen. I think I heard Malcolm X say it before. He talking about your age divided by 2 plus 7. What if you 20? That's gonna be a bad situation. You with a 17-year-old. What if you 19?
So I think 18 and above off top. But like, here's my issue. Like, the unfortunate part about it is I've met 22-year-olds who are more mature than 40-year-olds. And I've met 40-year-olds. Like, I'm not going to date them, but I've met these people. I'm talking about men and women. Like, I've met human beings that had their life together. So my question is, like, legitimately, my question is, like, when does age, right? Like, age, and then who gets to determine this? You dig what I'm saying? If the American government says that somebody needs to be 21 to drink, I can't front 21 and over. But if you 56, 52, dating a 21-year-old, it's kind of icky, right? That's just culturally icky to me. But on the same token, it is what it is.
I want to know what they sitting around talking about.
Yeah.
Well, besides her wanting to be in the dog chain and him to.
That's what they talking about.
Well, I guess
that's what they got in common. Dog chains. And
he sent that man a picture, and she said that man a picture. She said,
Silky, like, take that Silky.
She said, she told that man talking about her ass must $25,000 per cheek.
And also, it doesn't help that Shannon's been running around advertising the pill to get. Sure.
Shannon Sharpe. I need black men across this country to control
the direction of the erection.
Come on. Not just because you want to prevent yourself from getting in trouble. That's a good reason. But not just because of that, but simply because for the sake of self-control. Just because you can don't mean you should. Come on, man. I don't put this expectation on black men because I think we have to walk so narrowly to stay out of trouble. We do. I just think black men, the world need us to show up in a different light than just being chase and tell. And I know we do far more than that. But in moments like this, it's kind of like, bro, you're 54. You got the world is your stage. You can do what you want to do. And you're choosing for this to be a core element of your public presentation of your life. That I got a problem with.
Bougie Barbie said, exercise, erection, protection. Amen.
Sounds like a condom.
And so people ask for us to give some.
It's true. It's true.
Come on, man. Listen. Somebody asked for us to leave them what they could be doing over the next week to get us. There's nothing more important right now in this moment than protecting or practicing exercising erection protection.
Erection protection through erection direction.
That's an important thing. So listen. And
hey, hold on, man. As a single guy on here, this is what I'm gonna say. I just want grown people who don't who don't break your heart and who don't mess around with your spirit and your energy and may be able to pay their own bills and have like a decent job and have like common sense and not screwing 90 other people at the same time. That's what a normal, if as a single man getting into a relationship, I just don't want like all the extra bull BS. Now, dealing with a 19-year-old, there ain't nothing for me to talk about. You dig what I'm saying? Like dealing with a 30-year-old at this point really ain't much for me to talk about. I'm looking at IRAs, running businesses, but here's the thing. There are 28-year-olds, 25-year-olds, even 24-year-olds that might know what the hell they're talking about and can hold down a conversation. Intelligence, maturity, and here's the next thing. When y'all were single, and I'm not gonna be nasty about this, but when y'all were single, were y'all checking IDs?
When I was single,
yes, actually, a couple times, yes.
I appreciate that question.
Okay, all right, no, check this out.
Every time.
I understand when you get into a relationship or when you get like, okay, you know what? Matter of fact, before they signed that little document that that I know Mondale had when before I lay it down, like you gotta sign this document, right? I know he had one. I had one too. Right? My thing is this right here, right? Like the maturity level is gonna show, right? The problem that I have with Shannon is Shannon know for a fact that he was dealing with somebody immature. You know for a fact, a long time before you sleep with somebody, this person might call me out on whatever I said in these statements. You know for a fact that doesn't have an age to it. That has a character to it. And a lot of people at 19, 20, 21, 22 haven't developed their character yet. And they're not people of character. They're people of, you know what? I got me a rich dude with a bag. So therefore, or like we got to be realistic about how we talk about things. And I'm not like saying I don't want no teenager. I really don't want no 20-year-old, right? Like the youngest I ever dated was my ex, which was like 13 younger than me, and she was 33 when I started dating her. So I'm aging myself, right? Like, but like when it comes down to like, but I'm the single dude here. You know, you dig what I'm saying? I'm not robbing the cradle and stuff like that. But on the same token, I would be remiss to say that there are people who are able to handle their business as grown people at young ages. And I mean, like we would not be keeping it real, but there is a limit to that. Like I think 23 and younger with no maturity, nah.
I would say 25
and younger.
25
and younger. Yeah.
If you're over 30, you really shouldn't be messing with nobody under 25, man. Because it's too close. It's too close.
If you're over 30, you should be. Nah, I disagree with that.
If you're over 30, because anybody under 25 is so close to being 19.
It might be a little different, right?
Say it again.
If you're over 30 and you're messing with a mature 24-year-old who done graduated from college, works in your job, you've dealt with her for a while or him for a while. That might be one thing. And you know what? These cougars don't care either. See, one thing I'm not going to do is let these women off the hook at all.
Yeah.
Because these cougars,
they like to get them young.
Let me tell you something. They will go after a 20-year-old.
Like I want to say one thing.
Stop playing with me.
Matter of fact,
we got to keep it real.
Wait a minute. I was 22.
This is not a gender thing what we're talking about. This is like a maturity thing that we're talking about.
I was 22. She was 38. You're right. Wait a minute. I feel violent. No, I'm just.
But you know what? You might see men can't talk about that.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be this nuanced conversation, men can't talk about when they get violated or taken advantage of as a young person.
It's just power dynamic of it all, man. I respect the sister. I appreciate that sister who said, "Don't just make this a black male thing." I certainly don't. And it's not that I don't care about white folks and white men, but black folks, black men, come on. Y'all know the score. Y'all know the time. And then also go beyond that. We just holistically, man. Sex is this. How many people get out of this thing without being assaulted in some form or fashion? That's because people cannot control.
That's fair. So Ben, here's what I'm going to say to you. At 32 years old, 33 years old in the armed forces, you can join as a boot camp recruit, right? At 17 years old, you could join as a boot camp recruit in the military, in our United States military. So you have said 32-year-old and you have said 17 or 18-year-old who go through boot camp, right? Let's just say 18, right? They start dating. They meet up. They do whatever. They're both in the military. They're both the same exact rank, right? Yes, there is an issue of like taking advantage of somebody, but legally there's no problem. We're going to keep seeing this. We're going to keep seeing this no matter what. And I'm not condoning it. What I am saying is that like jobs, life, things happen. Does it? And am I condoning Shannon Sharpe? No, because that was a bit much. 50 plus to 19, bruh.
That's your granddaughter.
Come on, man. That is your granddaughter. That's your granddaughter.
That's your granddaughter.
We should leave it. We should leave this conversation at that. That's your granddaughter.
Yeah,
that's it. That's your granddaughter.
That's your granddaughter, bro.
And
we need him. Hey,
man.
Bro. We need you to. We Shannon. You have power in the black community that needs to be leveraged for good, bro. Don't make it. Remember the sex tape he dropped on his own, the audio, right? It's like, come on, man. You 54. Of course, everybody loves sex.
Did he drop that sex tape?
Yeah, the first audio.
It was a mistake on. He said it was a mistake on Instagram.
It was a live.
That's how he got the contract with the little Roman folks.
Hashtag. That's your granddaughter.
That's your granddaughter.
Good night, folks. Anybody who want to say good night? Who want to call it?
I think we just hit the music. It's been a while.
Love you. Mean it. Good night. That's all I got.
I'll get off.
Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, thirst trap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad, thirst trap. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it.